Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending the SHRUG Conference SHRUG Workshop 2020. We're so glad that you're here. Today, we have what you might have missed in ArcGIS, in the ArcGIS platform by Will Meyers and Robyn Garrett. They're online now, and what I wanted to remind you is that this is being recorded, and that you can ask questions in the system control to the probably on the right of your screen as we go. Type them as soon as you have a question. And I guess I'm getting reports that my audio is in and out. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Robyn and Will now, and I will make them presenter.
Awesome. Thanks, Ned.
Just a second. I will make you presenter.
Thank you, Ned.
Stop sharing my screen.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Will Meyers, and I'm a solution engineer. And it looks like Ned just gave me screen control. So let's find out what happens. So let's share. Let's stop sharing screen and pick. Yep, that one. Share screen. So you should be seeing a PowerPoint. Robyn, can I get a confirmation on PowerPoint?
I am not seeing it yet, so I'll let you know.
How about now?
No.
Ned, I think I'm sharing the PowerPoint. So we're just gonna go with that.
I can see
it. So
can you see it, Ned?
It's
yes, I can see it.
Okay. So it's really great to be with you guys today. This is a presentation that I've wanted to do for a long time now. I'm calling it Things You Might Have Missed in the ArcGIS Platform. I'm gonna try to get my ceiling fan. Okay, there we go. That's a nice balance. So basically what this presentation is like a little bit of everything. It's really hard to present at an event like this that with a broad aspect of attendees and try to cover and meet the needs of everyone. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna kind of give you a little bit of overview of a lot of things. But again, my name is Will Meyers. I'm a solution engineer with Esri. I've been at Esri 5 years. You might have met me at a SHRUG event in the past. I think I've been to 3 or 4 SHRUGs over the last 5 years. So this might be 4, yeah. My first one is the one with the bomb incident at the social or after the social. So that was a great way to be introduced to Tallahassee and the SHRUG group. With me today is Robyn Garrett. She's an account executive based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Robyn, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I've hopefully met most of you. I've been working with Florida customers for about 14 years now with Esri as an account manager. So Will and I are working together for Central Florida all the way over to the Panhandle and Jacksonville. So we're happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and just get started. So this is a collection of random tips and tricks to further your GIS experience. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the platform, online, pro, enterprise, web apps. We'll talk about mobile apps. If you have questions, no matter what they are, feel free to type them in the chat. We'll address them at different points along the way. But first, I wanted to give Robyn to give you an update on some things. A lot of you guys have small enterprise agreements with Esri, and there's a couple of key changes, and I wanted Robyn to go over those real quick.
Yes, I lost you for just a minute, so perfect timing. I'll be honest, I cannot see the presentation, but I know what slide I sent you, Will.
Yes, that is fine.
that is fun. So normally I would say a raise of hand of how many people are a small enterprise agreement customer. I wanted to make sure that you new of the most recent, and when I say recent, March, a lot happened in March. So we included some additional licensing in your small enterprise agreement, whether you're a small government customer, a small utility, small department. We have several now that are covered for those. So you do have unlimited ArcGIS Monitor licensing. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. If you have questions about it, please let us know. We have added Tracker for both ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise. So depending on what level you are, you have X many users for Tracker. So that's a big excitement. I like that. We also have added Parcel Fabric users and utility users for Enterprise, because those are Enterprise licensing solutions. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about that. We have, due to the additional licensing, and our small EAs came out in 2008, and we have not increased the pricing since 2008, but as of March this year, if you're renewing this year for the first time, or next year, there is a 10% increase in the price. So if you have any questions about that, or you haven't renewed lately, please let your account manager know. We are happy to talk to you about that. And all of this is public information, of course, so you can go to the Esri Enterprise page and you can look at the small government one, in a table, all the different users that you have access to. Insights, so Insights was included before March, but I want to make sure that you do know you also have Insights, which is a really good license and tool to have in that toolbox.
Yeah, thanks, Robyn. That's important to know. There's a lot of value in those licensing changes, and a great way to utilize those across the platform. So one of the first things that I like to talk about, and I often, so some of these things that I put together are responding to tech support cases and other things that people do, but one of the things that I think is always helpful is we have tools both within the GeoNet community and in whatever flavor of search engine you would like to use that can help refine your searches. And my favorite one of those is by searching by date, right? So I don't know how many of you guys have ever searched for something and got an answer that was old, right? It was, hey, Esri called the same thing we're using today, something else 20 years ago, and I got a result that isn't exactly what I wanted. So by changing that search result time to the year, that's a really pro tip on how to like shorten your ability to look for things. And it's one that when I started my grad school program, the grad school program advisor basically went over this in the first class in the program and was like, look, I don't want to have to answer your guys' questions. Like, if you have easy questions, I expect you to try to find them. But I also think as a professional, being able to search and find those answers quickly is really helpful. And this is just a way that I have learned to answer those questions, especially when, like, if someone was to name something out, I probably would Google it because I don't know everything about our technology, but I do know a lot of things about our technology. Okay, so here's some great resources to help you get moving, right? So a lot of our customers don't necessarily know about learn.arcgis. Learn.arcgis is a great website where you can go and actually go and get information about what's available. doc.arcgis.com is probably one of my favorite places to go to. So if you haven't been lately, we've revamped it a lot, right? So you can pretty much find documentation for everything here, including all of our newest products, including ArcGIS solutions. So if you're looking for documentation on solutions, you can find that here. And really, if you want to advance your GIS knowledge, I don't know if anyone wants to guess how many tools there are in ArcGIS Pro, but at the 2.6 release, there's something like 1,500 GP tools. and that's quite a few. And trying to keep track of all those different capabilities, we try to put out different resources to help with that. So going back to the PowerPoint, the other one that I think that a lot of people know about, but they don't necessarily think about it, is YouTube. We have an Esri events channel on YouTube. I have a graduate degree in GIS from YouTube through this Esri events channel. And you know, it's a great place to find different resources. You can find over 200 tech sessions from the developers conference last year. I challenge you to try to watch them all. I've watched 40 of them, and that's still a lot. So there's still a lot to be done there, but I think it's a really great way to take advantage of it. So kind of moving forward, webinars, your account team. Robyn and I are really good about helping, and any other account team at Esri is really good about shortening that time to value so that you can get better results more quickly. I know our jobs, especially in 2020, have changed a lot. You know, Robyn and I both miss traveling aspects of our job, and one of the ways that we can kind of fulfill that need to get out of our house, even though it's virtually, is to come speak to you guys and have these kind of video calls and other things. So we're really available, and we would really like to work with you. Support, the next thing is support. My colleague and friend Keith Cook often makes a statement that there's no refund at the end of the year for support you didn't use, right? So take advantage of support. They can really help solve especially unique software problems and challenges. The other thing, you know, finding partners to work with, and then reaching out and communicating with peers at events like this is really important as well. So you guys may have seen a slide like this in one of Jack's talks, but our products and capabilities are advancing. We have so many new innovations, and the integration of scripting and Esri's core software and cloud computing and AI and machine learning and all of these new future technologies are really pushing the limits of both technology and customers. And sometimes it's really hard to keep up. So the idea of this presentation is to kind of show off some of the things that you might have missed. So one of the first ones that I like to talk about is hosted views. Hosted views are a way to take a feature service in ArcGIS Online and create basically a view of that data set that has different permissions. So you might have an editable feature service that you use internally, and I want to have a hosted view externally. And that's been out for 4 years, and a lot of people are still like just grasping hosted views, and that's completely okay. The other one in Art Online that I think is really cool that a lot of people don't know about is the ability to edit lists and ranges in their data. So the ability to create a quasi domain or pick list within a feature service, and it really can help with that ability, right? So the ability to set up and pick domains, I can edit a list of values, you can delete the list of values, you can set minutes and max, and all of those things can be done within ArcGIS Online. So if I pull up online here, let's sign in, and we'll go over a few of these. So the other one I mentioned is open data. It's often one customers don't take advantage of. that uniquely. Credit allocation and budgeting, those tools are really great. And then one that I think is often overlooked, but from a management perspective, is the ability to use an identity provider, right? So at Esri, you use Okta, but you might use Active Directory Federation, or you might use Shibboleth or another type of SAML identity provider. And the ability to not have to manage usernames and passwords is a great game changer. So the other one that's on the list is, let's just go in and look at this content real quick, and we will show the ability to do a few things. So on data, we can go into our fields and have a list of domains. So this is where I can come in ArcGIS Online and say I want to put like tooth pick bridge, right? That's a solid bridge. I've made some of those before in my life, so you might want to find one of those.
We're still seeing your old screen.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Thanks, Ned. Let's just show screen 3. How about that? Stop sharing screen.
It came up at the last second. It was showing right when you went off.
Okay. How about that?
We can see it.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit and just get back to where we're going. So in a data set, I would go to my bridge inspections, and then I can come in to go into settings, or into data rather, and go into fields. And I have some data that you might expect to have a pick list. In this case, bridge type does have a pick list. And say I want to add and edit a pick list type. So I mentioned toothpick bridges. And then I can save that. And then when I edit that in ArcGIS Online, it's now going to have that toothpick list in my list of values. And you kind of can see it in the brackets, it says domain. That is something that a lot of customers can take advantage of, especially when they're just need to make a quick change and not have to go back into a file geodatabase to make that change. You can make it here live and update it on the fly. So the other one that we don't get to see a lot of is locator views. So locator views allow you to create exactly what it says, but it's a view of a locator. So SHRUG locator. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK here and create my locator view. So it says, hey, here's my view. Where do you want to have my view? So I can say within a specified area, right? So I can set my area and say I want to say Leon County, Florida. So I only want to see results for this area. And when you're making a public app and you're giving the public the ability to put anything in the world locator, it's really nice to make sure they don't like accidentally fly to Spain in the process. So I'm going to go there, set my area. Then I can also determine what is going to be returned. What type of locations. Maybe I just want addresses in places, or maybe I just want places of interest. I can save that view and then register that view with any apps, or I can set it as my primary locator within my organization. The other one is ArcGIS notebooks, right? Notebooks have been around since earlier this year, and they're really a great way to take advantage of scripting capabilities within ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise. And you can do a ton of things for free. And then if you want to use our advanced workbooks, you can pay a little bit of credits per processing hour, and it's really easy to get started. So there are a lot of great use cases for notebooks, whether it's doing data science or just doing administration within your organization. And so there's a lot of different capabilities within that environment. So if I go back into my online org here, you can access those notebooks through the notebook button or the app launcher. You can ask which one you want to do. This one, I just want to do a standard notebook. I can open it, and then I can immediately get started with my scripting. Or I can come in and grab a sample data set. Like if I want to have a administrative notebook that manages inactive users, right? We have ones that are already built to take advantage of these administrative functions, and you can really get to take advantage of them. So this one is just going to set up scheduling and notifications about user. An important part of the process is notifying the user about their inactivity. So maybe I just want to say, hey, by the way, you haven't been in ArcGIS Online in a month. If you're not in a month later, we're going to disable your account, right? And that's what this one does. So going back to the PowerPoint, the last one that a lot of you have seen is field maps, but the field maps app is one that not everyone has seen. And so in field maps app, I can come in and say, okay, I want to come in and modify this map. I can update it. I can say, hey, make this available in Field Maps Mobile or not make it available in Field Maps Mobile. I can see, hey, here's my bridge inspection layer. I can then start to build templates with default values. So I can say, okay, here's my bridge point. I can say, hey, most of my bridges in the county are a span girder, or I can come in, go back into my form and convert this pop-up to start building out my form. So maybe I don't need anyone to do dowel links. I can just delete these items here, save that form, and then when I go back to my templates, my template there is cloned. So this is no dowel length. I can hit save, and then if I want to clone this one, I can say this one is toothpick, pick, bridge, bridges, right? And on the default values for bridge type, I can set it to that toothpick template. So now when, instead of my field workers in the field having to go in and set that every time, they can just say, hey, I found a toothpick bridge and put it in the map. So that's how field maps on the back end can really take advantage of forms and of arcade properties to really take advantage of your content. So then I could do things and say, hey, I want to enable offline mode, or change and say I want to use a tile package that the device already has, and really take advantage of that content there. The last one is the Map Viewer Beta. So Map Viewer Beta is one of my favorite things to demo, and let's start with it. So the map viewer beta, if you haven't seen it, it's really a complete departure from our our original map viewer. So that map viewer has been around for almost 10 years now, plus or minus a few. And it really hasn't changed a whole lot. But working with the new 4X API, we really have the ability to bring in different layers. So I'm going to add a layer here. Let's see. Let's just look for parcels. And if this doesn't work, I'll just open an existing map. I'm going to do that. That's a better go-to. So I'm going to go to my content here, and I'm just going to show you a map view that I've made. So here's a web map. It's called Parcel Value Demo. I can open it in the beta map viewer and see it live, right? So this data is pretty interesting to me. So what it's showing is a data set that actually doesn't really exist. So if I go into my data and I go into my styles, you can see I have an expression here that I've put in here, and this is using Arcade. So basically it's saying create a variable, bring back the improved value divided by the total living area, and return that back as a value. So this should be somewhat in the idea behind this is the taxable value of your building divided by your building square footage. So almost like a taxable value per square foot. And this is not something that's in this value data set, but I think it's really cool because it can kind of tell you, is everybody paying kind of a fair share? And I have it symbolized in a way that when I zoom in, you can start to see some kind of interesting things occur with the data, right? So this symbology is all being rendered on the fly with Arcade. So these labels are all Arcade expressions, and it's really cool to be able to say, okay, this property is $98, a square foot, versus this property is $49.99, right? And not knowing exactly what's there, it's just interesting to see how a lot of these things has changed. You see the ones that are gray, those are ones that apparently don't have buildings on them, or maybe have been withheld for various reasons. But I just thought it's a very quick way to come in, create an attribute that doesn't exist, and make maps from that attribute. Okay, so I'm going to shift back to PowerPoint real quick. And get back to it. So we talked about what's new. We talked about some things you might have not have seen. Online has changed quite a bit. There's new capabilities all the time. So we just added ArcGIS Velocity and new extensions. So Velocity is a real-time analytics capability. It kind of is the ability to do things that you might have done in GeoEvent in the past, or in GeoAnalytics Server, some of those same capabilities within ArcGIS Online, which this environment sitting on top of Azure. So in the future, you might see some things like hosted imagery or other solutions in ArcGIS Online, and there's a lot of new things coming out in 2021. So Hub is another one that a lot of our customers don't take advantage of as much as they could. It's a great way to share and communicate information. And there's a lot of great examples of customers using Hub. And Hub's really about kind of enabling citizen science, community engagement, and participation within your organization. So solutions, I showed you the new kind of solutions, where you find them in our documentation. Some of you might have memorized the website solutions.arcgis.com by heart. That website will take you to an existing site, but we've modified all those solutions. And the way you get solutions today, as of last week, is you go into ArcGIS Online, you go into solutions, you find the solution that you want. So maybe you want this 3D base map solution, right? It's a favorite of mine. And then you just hit this Get It Now button, and all the pieces of information just flow into your ArcGIS Online org. So back to the PowerPoint. Pro, lots of new improvements. One of my new favorite features is autosave. Things like predictive modeling, link analysis, linear reference editing in the future. Anyone that's ever had to make 3D meshes knows that once you make one, managing it is kind of challenging. So new tools to manage those meshes. I almost said messes, because it can be messy to do that. So those are all just capabilities of the platform that I think are really useful. Obviously, we've put a lot of efforts into new pieces of technology like story maps, with new capabilities like a storyteller role. And we've seen a lot of customers migrate their stories to the new story maps templates. Dashboards, there's a lot of new capabilities and with dashboards. And I would dare to guess that dashboards are probably our most popular and most well-known application at this point. If you said, hey, to someone who doesn't know Esri, what does Esri do? To the outsider, they're probably going to tell you that they're a dashboard company. They make the Johns Hopkins dashboard, or they make the Florida Department of Health dashboard for COVID, right? But there's a lot of great things in dashboards, and new and improvements are coming out as the current set of dashboards are replaced by the new ArcGIS dashboards that's currently in beta. So as always, we have new capabilities in data science. So new capabilities in AI and machine learning. Robyn has the pleasure of sitting on our AI and machine learning global business development team. And so she's happy to talk to any of you about use cases and how we could utilize machine learning and AI within your organizations. But there's a ton of new capabilities, and I feel like it's just showing this map makes me want to go explore some of them more. So imagery and remote sensing. Esri's platform has had imagery capabilities for a long time, but now I would say the platform is a full image management solution, from map and data production to analysis and processing to visualization and exploitation, right? And that's just being even further enhanced with our acquisitions of SiteScan and Sure software from a company called M-Frames that we just recently purchased this summer. So all of those things and all those technologies are getting embedded into our existing technology and just making our technology that much better from that standpoint. The last thing is we mentioned is real-time analytics. So we've always had for a long time GeoEvent and GeoAnalytics server, but ArcGIS Velocity really gives you that capability to stand up an analytic without having hardware in place to do such, right? It sits on top of the Azure platform, Microsoft's Azure platform, and really gives you the capability to start doing real-time data analytics and real-time data processing without having to stand up and tune GeoEvent or an enterprise environment. It's all done within the cloud. And lastly, field operations. You've seen the release of the ArcGIS Field Maps app. It's based on the latest version of Collector that's been enhanced to tie and integrate Explorer, Tracker, and Collector. Later releases, you're going to see us integrate Workforce into that application, as well as Navigator. So instead of having to jump in and out of applications or sign in and out, I will have a seamless experience in the app with all of those capabilities. It's something that we've wanted for a long time, but we had to wait for our mobile SDKs and app and devices to get powerful enough to be able to do all those things at once in one application. So I'm gonna pause. Oh, the last one is Enterprise. Enterprise is one of my favorite talks. In 2021, you're going to see things like ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes, right? So this is allowing us to containerize the application so that it runs within a container. So there should be better performance and better ability to manage instances of those sites. It should make easier IT integration and improve stability across the board. The other thing is we're constantly improving Enterprise, especially as new capabilities come out in ArcGIS Online. We work those into Enterprise so that we try to keep those items parallel across the board. So that's my last slide. I wanted to kind of leave a little bit of time for questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen or pause sharing my screen. If we need to show something, happy to, but Ned, do we have questions from the field?
All right, so you can hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Question from Jacob Coble. How about importing metadata from a feature class to its equivalent on ArcGIS Online?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that one. It's going to be one that I think we'd have to research. And I caveat with that being that I love to hate metadata. I love good metadata, but if you ask me if I've ever kept metadata up to date, I always worked in really dynamic environments in the past, and the metadata was out of date as soon as we made changes. So I can follow up on that one and get back to you. If you send me an email, I'm happy to follow that up.
All right. Any other questions? Just put them in the question section and go to webinar. I'm sure Will would love to have some more questions.
So I am resharing our emails.
Next question is, will you share your slides?
Yeah. Well, I can share my slides. This is also being recorded, right? And the links in here I can definitely share. These slides are public knowledge, so I'll be happy to put these out as a PDF and share them at the end.
I wanted to mention the views, the locator views that you talked about. We've used those at Tallahassee, Leon County, because we also support some regional GIS for emergency management for 13 counties. And what we noticed was in WebEOC, we were getting addresses and damage assessment and locations that were in Greece or in Africa or you name it. And so we've created a view of the 13 counties and quickly started getting better content in our results from Jabari Web EFC. So it's very useful to us. We also
Yeah.
have one for crime, for our local crime support areas that goes outside of Leon County.
Yeah, it's a great way to limit users' ability to make mistakes, right? So we always want to try to make our users of technology as successful as they can be. And it's just another way to kind of lower the bar to make it easier for them to be successful with the technology. And it also makes your life easier when you're trying to figure out, hey, what did they mean by Mykonos, Tallahassee? Like, where is that place? So.
All right. Anybody else got any questions? Now is the time. Otherwise, we'll move on.
Cool. Well, we thank you for the opportunity to present at SHRUG. We miss seeing you all in person, and look forward to a future where we can see each other and have an opportunity to network in the evenings after the conference. I think that's the best way I can say that. So.
Thank you, Ned, and thank you, everyone else.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Lots of thanks from the attendees.
Yep. Email over any questions.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Ending the session now.